So in this video we're going to be handling the game win condition. By the end of it you'll actually be able to put a valid guess in and it will say, do you want to play again? And of course eventually we'll also put in a well done, etc. But for now at least it's going to detect that you have won the game. Great news. So guys, we need a way of winning the game, as I said, so let's find a way to make that happen. We already have a method called isGame1 and it's const, which is great, but if we look at the implementation, or another way of saying that is the definition of that, it just returns false. Now it's going to be your challenge to make this do the right thing, but for now let's write the surrounding code so that you'll know when you've got it right. So we said in this to-do that we want to change into a while loop, so let's do that, but before we do, let's write in English what we want this loop to do. Loop for the number of turns asking for guesses until, or just say loop asking for guesses, or while the game is not run, there you go, won rather, and there are still turns, or tries I think, remaining. Okay, so loop asking for guesses while the game is not won and there are still tries remaining. Great. So let's do it. Let's write out this while loop. While. Now we're going to write it like this. While not is game. Now we need to reference the BC game, of course, because we're not inside the class. While BC game dot is game 1, but while not BC game dot is game 1. And then the second condition is we need to ask what the current guess is. Now, how do we do that? BC game dot get current try is less than or equal to the max tries that we declared just above. Now, the one thing about this is it's really easy to miss this exclamation mark, which says not is game 1. You could say is game 1 equals false. That would be okay. Like so. It's a bit redundant, and I'm actually not going to do it this way because I want you, again, to read code like the compiler does. You need to spot these little things because in other people's code, in Unreal's boilerplate code, and even in your code, you're going to have exclamation marks. So I've said not 1 up here. In fact, you may even want to move the not right down so that it's near the exclamation mark there. Okay, in the comment, but you need to just be aware of that. You need to see these. You can space it out if you like, possibly even as much as this, but I think that you just need to get used to that, I'm afraid. There's not really any way around it, okay? You need to see these exclamation marks. They totally invert the meaning of things. So I will settle on that format right there. So while the game isn't won, do all this stuff. So let's just check our code still works. And even if we win the game, of course, we can still carry on because the isGame1 method is always returning false at the moment. So that is going to be your challenge. I want you to finish implementing the isGame1 so that we actually know when the game is won. So this is how you're going to do it. Finish it by defining the appropriate getter method. So we've already declared it, isGame1. I want you to define it. Create a private variable as necessary, prefixed with b. Remember, booleans are prefixed with b. Set the private variable in submit valid guess. As a hint, when the number of bulls equals the word length, we've won. And test, you can now actually win the game. So go ahead, pause the video and have a go at this challenge now. Okay, welcome back. So let's start by thinking about what private member we need here. We need a bool, and then Unreal's coding standard suggests we start bools with a small b, so we'll do that. And then we're going to say game is won as a simple boolean. Okay, it's okay to be a boolean. It's sufficiently simple to be a boolean. So we have this bool called game is won. So then what does isGame1 do for us? Now, well, it's quite simple. Let's go and have a look at the implementation. The easiest way, of course, is to right-click on it and just say go to definition. There it is. Now, firstly, it's pretty much a getter, so I'm going to move it to the top here, along with all the other getters. And it's actually so simple that I'm going to put it in line. What are we returning? We're, of course, simply returning b is game 1. And it's nice and simple. That prefix b says as well, we're looking for a boolean, and they're all the booleans. Cool. Thanks, Unreal, for a sensible coding standard. Okay, so let's just bring this into one line, simply because it'll fit there. And I'm just going to make consistent spacing. There you go. Also, in the header, I think it should probably sit up right next to Keep all the constants together. They're all getters, right? So there we go. Great. So we've done that. We've implemented our method there. It's a really simple one-line implementation. Now we need to set this is game one. I'm going to copy it into the copy buffer. And then I'm going to go and decide where we set it. Well, we're going to set it at the bottom of submit valid guess. Just before we return bulls and cows, we're going to ask ourselves the question, is the game won or is the game not won? So if bull cow count dot bulls equals word length, then the game's won. So paste that in. Equals, we want an equals here, equals true. Otherwise, in any other condition, it equals false. Just copy that line, paste it in. False. Sort out our spacing. Okay, so that's fine. Now, have we initialized B is game one to false? It's all very well setting this value, but there's one more thing we need to do, which is in our reset method, which is at the top of this function. We need to make sure that it is actually set to false. So my current try is 1, game is 1 is false. So we have a reset to false. We submit our valid guess, count our bulls and cows. At the bottom of this, we say, okay, let's set it to true if the bull count is equal to the word length. If it's less than the word length, or it's not equal to the word length, then it's false. You could arguably say that it would be better to say that the bull cow count has to be less than or equal to, but equals is fine. It's the only condition. You should never have a bull count longer than the word length, and it's only when it's equal to it that we have a valid win. Okay, so let's go. Let's have a look and see if this works. So you put some rubbish in, it asks you to put a sensible guess in. You put planes in, which isn't planet, and it says try to enter your guess. Getting close to a working game here. Planed, guess 3. Planes. Planet, aha. Bulls 6, would you like to play again? No, and we leave. Great. And let's make sure we can play again. Planet, would you like to play again? Yes. We could do with the space before the introduction to the game. We'll probably put some ASCII art around this later, but it's working. That is good news. I'm actually going to put the space in before the welcome right now, because otherwise I'm what I call paying lip service to the idea that we should do that. So let's go and actually do that right now. I'm going to put in, I think, 2 new lines before that and just test again. So, okay, it starts off a bit down the screen. As I say, later we'll use ASCII art. But for now, Planet, would I like to play again? Yes. And then the new game is relatively well spaced out. That's great. So congratulations, and I'll see you in the next video.